Why does my favorite color correlate to your opinion?
Welcome to Tomorrow Makers, where we explore how we learn, live, work, and play now and in the future. I'm Carlos Ramos.
And I'm Summer Beatty.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We actually have a special Hyde shout out today, don't we?
We do.
You want to take it?
Yes. So we'd like to shout out Bethlehem Area Vocational Technical School.
Ooh.
Wow. Bavitz? Bavitz is in the house.
And why is that? Why are we shouting out to Bavitz?
Oh, because we had a very special guest on the podcast, Lauren Stauffer, and she is a teacher at Bavitz.
Not only a teacher at Bavitz, she was here at Penn College.
Yes.
Like not too long ago.
No. Oh my goodness. She was here for Wildcat Weekend and we had to grab her and have her on the podcast. And she is so much fun. We laughed a lot.
We did. And those of you who are familiar with Penn College, have watched, some of our tours. She was 4 cycles back. I think she was our tour guide.
She was. She got the Public Relations and Marketing Superstar Award.
Yeah.
We were a big fan of Lauren Stauffer.
She was the first and only recipient so far of that award, wasn't she?
That's true.
We've had some other superstars, but
it's very exclusive.
It is.
So we think you're really going to like this one. Lauren's a prime example of a hands-on learner who found her path to Penn College, and I think she's a success story.
Definitely. Before we get into this, I want to give a shout out to Patrick Picacha. Patrick sent us photos of some fantasy houses. If you were listening back to Jen and Jerry, our episode with them, we talked about fantasy houses. And so now you can see them in their raw state.
That was so cool. I was imagining what they would look like, but the picture was even better.
Did you go out and try to find it?
Well, are they still out there?
They might be.
Oh,
I don't know. We had a lot of rain, though. And they said, I think Jerry said that they just melt.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
That's terrible. I'm glad he got a photo so you can see it.
Yeah,
Just head over to that episode. It's in the show notes.
All right. Well, let's get into this. Grab your Jolly Ranchers and buckle up with Lauren.
I think there's going to be a lot of laughter today.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Never apologize for laughing.
That's been me all weekend. So.
Tell us about this weekend.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was like memory lane. I walked back to my program building and it was so much fun. Like, I loved it. Like, it was like, I miss this. Like, I really miss it. Like, this was like my home. Like, even to my dog, this is like his first home. So when we come back here, it's like memory lane. Like, it's amazing.
And you haven't even been gone that long.
No, it's not. It's only been like a year and a half now.
I feel like you're going to end up back here teaching eventually.
So that's a great thing you said that. So I'm actually working to eventually, you don't need your PhD, I don't think, to teach here, but I'm working to get my PhD. So I'm getting my master's in career and technical education and then working to get that PhD level and then hopefully teach classes. So yeah.
Long-term goal back to Penn College.
Yeah, probably will happen eventually. Everyone knows it. But yeah, this is it's even bittersweet because this is technically like my dog's first home. Like, this is where we would go on walks. We would do our home. His home was here.
All the familiar smells.
Yeah, it's very familiar. Yeah.
For the dog. Remind me, what's his name?
Oh, his name's Milo. Milo, the Penn College pup.
Oh. So I don't know if our list, depending on when this gets released, we'll just say you were here for a Wildcat Weekend.
Yes.
The alumni gathering. You came Friday?
I came yesterday.
Saturday? Okay.
Yeah. I came yesterday morning, left around like 9 o'clock. We left. We got here by like 11, walked around for a little bit, and then took some pictures and all that good stuff. Went to the alumni cornhole thing. That was so much fun. I just kind of like socialized with Erin and Stacy and all of them. It was like kind of like a cool thing. And we just like walked around with my one friend, Katie. She's in the robotics automation program here. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
You recommend? Make the trip back if you're an alumni.
Oh, 1010 recommend. I love doing things like I went to Wagging Tail for coffee. Like I always stop there for coffee. I miss that coffee. Like I love that coffee there. I always stop at my favorite places. Like we always stay at the Genetti. Like we always go to the restaurant across the street. We always do the same things because it just makes it better. It brings us back to where it all started. We did the same things when I first started.
I can tell you there's a theme here. You're a fan of the full circle experience. So before we got on the mic, we were talking about how you went to a CTE, came to Penn College, and now you found yourself back at the same CTE where you learned originally.
Yes. It's a very full circle moment. I can say like 2 weeks ago, I think it was like the first week, actually, not 2 weeks ago, but the first week I was driving home and I'm like, this is insane how I came from there to here and then back there. I knew something was missing, like when I was working in these jobs, like the two, that's why I changed frequently. And I knew something was missing. Like I knew something wasn't there. And when I got the phone call to do it, I was just like, this kind of like makes sense, you know, like I was nervous. I won't lie to you. I was so nervous. I was gaslighting myself like 10-10 every day. And they were like, just stop it. You're going to be perfect. You're going to be great at it. And I'm like, okay, we'll try.
Oh, I'm sure your students adore you.
Yeah, they do. I can say right now they do. I'm like the Jolly Rancher teacher. So I give them Jolly Ranchers. They're like, Miss, at the end of every class, they're like, Miss, can we have a Jolly Rancher? Jolly Rancher, please. And I'm like, okay. And you can hear the glass jar at the end of the class, like, boom, boom, boom.
You're bribing them with sweets, whatever works.
Yeah.
So you're teaching mechatronics. Okay. And then when you were back prior to coming to Penn College, was that an area of study for you?
No. So I was in electronics.
Okay.
That actually was a newer program my senior year. They were making it into... Originally was the Academy of Engineering, and then they slowly transitioned to mechatronics. A lot of kids actually still don't know what mechatronics is. So
I think sorry to interrupt you, but I feel like we need to tell people what mechatronics is.
Honestly, I try to find the simplest way to say it, and it's actually... So mechatronics is a combination of mechanical engineering, being mechanically inclined, I'd say, robotics, automation concepts. So think about conveyor belts, PLCs, which is like basically a computer that controls those conveyor belts, pneumatics, which is air circuits, hydraulics, which is oil circuits. The guy actually, he came into my classroom. He was telling me about the equipment we have in the classroom. And he's like, the best way to explain mechatronics is like an automated car wash. You hit the button, you pay for it, and then everything just like works. That's how you could explain mechatronics to someone that has no prior understanding. But then a lot of kids also don't know like what avenues you can go down. I have a couple of kids right now who are so intrigued in aviation maintenance and being a mechanic, or some of them want to do maintenance tech for manufacturing facilities like I did. There's so many different avenues you can go down. So that's like the short and sweet way of me explaining it. I have a more in-depth process in class, but that's like short and sweet.
So how do you, I'm just thinking to a student in high school in a CTE, how do they even determine which pathway is right for them?
That's a good question. So some of them, it like clicks for them, like in that classroom. Like you can see it right there and then. For me, for my perspective, it was where I found something that I truly enjoyed. They go there and they find something they're really passionate about. That's why those rotation programs that I mentioned, the 10 days each in each program, is so valuable because it gives them a different perspective on where they can go. That's literally, I can say, is my passion, like the passion you have for that. The avenue, when these kids are building these cyborg hands in class or building pneumatic circuits and hydraulic circuits, you can see it light up for them. Like they're actually using their hands to build something instead of sitting at a desk doing nothing. So, like not doing nothing, but like reading a book or something, or doing math problems. But this is a total different experience, especially for these rotation kids right now. They are not used to this and they love it. Like I just kind of like give them stuff and they build it and they make it work.
Yeah, seeing the ideas come to life and they're functional. They're not just on paper.
Yeah, it's very functional. And that's why I wanted to think outside the box with getting them to do the cyborg hand thing, because it's like this teaches them like we're gonna be building things in here, not just sitting at the table reading a book, which happens occasionally, but like they're gonna be building, like they're here building stuff.
And so what age groups do you have right now?
I have 10 through 12, so I'd say 15 to 18.
And how many of those do you have a sense of who might go on to further their education?
So I can say right now, in my afternoon class, because that's my juniors and seniors, I have 8 kids. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so small because no one understands still. All 8 of them, they are going so many places. The one actually potentially might be coming here. Definitely a good avenue for him. Some want to go to Penn State. Like, they have these big dreams and goals, and I told them, like, we're here to help you pursue those dreams and goals. Like, I'm here to see you succeed. Like, I'm doing everything I can to help you, like someone did for me when I was a student here. And they're like, okay, cool. They like that. They love that perspective. I'm like, okay, cool.
So 8 students total, or 8 juniors, seniors?
So in my PM right now, I have 8 kids in total right now. My morning is a lot bigger. Like, I have 20 kids. So the class sizes actually are very familiar to here, which is very great to compare it to. Because I had the one student that actually is considering going here, he was not up for the big classroom setting. And I'm like, promise you, you're not going to get that big classroom setting here. I told him, like, my smallest class when I was here was, I think there was 3 of us. And then the largest was probably like maybe 15. And he's like, I can do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can do that. I know you can. This is pretty small now. It's pretty one-on-one with me. And they're with me like 3 years, like you would be here with a professor, getting to know them every day. And it's pretty equal. And that's what actually helps me promote this place when I'm working. So
we didn't do this on purpose.
Are you sure?
Just all our master plan. So how influential was your CTE when it came time to identify what you were going to study in college? If you were in electrical and then you moved into mechatronics once you came to Penn College?
Yeah, so it was pretty influential. Won't lie to you, I wanted to be a nurse. That's why I went to Votech. I went to Votech to be a nurse. And then I tried it out, and it was like, nope, not for me.
I never heard that story.
No, I didn't like it at all. I did like the medical terminology in that rotation program, and I'm like, no, I can't do this.
Hey, better to learn then. Imagine.
Well, this is like what I mean. Like those rotations they have is so influential on your passion and drive. I decided then to change my last rotation to electronics. A guidance counselor then helped me pick it. And he's like, oh, you build these circuits, you build these robot things. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. That sounds so much fun. And he was like, okay, we'll do that. And I went to the class and we built these circuits. And I saw lights going on and buttons were working. And I was just like, this is amazing. I love it. And like, I can tell you, like, my teacher also helped me. I was a very different learner. Even here, I was a different learner. I would sit at his desk with him and he would help me every day to get the job done. He was awesome. First, he wanted me to work full time. And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. So that's why I decided to come here. And he was like, and then he saw what was going on here and he was like, okay, I think this is the best avenue for you. My program definitely helped spike that. But when I was here as a student, my first year, my teacher, Mr. Kinley, he told me about the new robotics automation program. And he's like, it's a lot more hands-on still. You're going to be doing different concepts. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I told my dad about it and he's like, you need to do that. And I'm like, okay. Because my dad's very familiar in the field. He went to CTC for his electronics too. It was pretty funny when we found out. I didn't even know that until I graduated like from my Votech. And he did the same thing. And then he's like, this is the avenue to go down. Just do it. So that place started it all for me. Like, and I said that in my interview with them. I said, this is the place that shaped me to come here to do bigger, better things. And then I went back to do the same thing there.
It's so nice to have that one-on-one with the instructor. And I think that's the case here at Penn College too, where the classes aren't so big that you don't feel intimidated by asking a question or having that time. Just, you know, oh my goodness, if there were 50 kids in the class, I would feel like, oh, the instructor
Yeah, I know.
time to answer these questions.
Here, it's pretty spectacular with that class size. I couldn't vouch more about that. I did it on my tours here when I was giving tours. I always vouched for that class size because it's like you're not going to get that anywhere else, especially if you're so used to, if you're from a CTC. I'm assuming it's like that everywhere else too, having those smaller class sizes because of safety regulations and all that stuff. And they have to do that here. So that definitely is the best perk.
What were you like growing up? What did you like to do? Were you crafty or what were you doing? What was it like?
Funny. That's a funny question because like I was really talking to my kids about this. I was like, my stepmom and my dad would buy me these like science kits for Christmas and I would build them. I never had Barbies. No, I was not that girly girl ever. I did play teacher a lot, so that's pretty funny that I say that. I did play teacher a lot. But it was I didn't do what the normal kids would do. We would always be outside. We had a go-kart.
Did you build it?
So my grandfather did.
Okay.
He built the go-kart for us and we used it. I won't lie to you, I burned out with it a lot and I broke it a couple times and I watched them fix it.
Hey, that's a great experience. I was going to ask you if you fixed it.
Yeah, I saw them fix it. Mind you, I was also 8 at the time. So I wasn't sure if I could do those things yet. But yeah, I was a very different kid. Not like everyone expected. I was never a girly girl. Like if you saw pictures of me, I dressed very like not girly girl until high school. So. But yeah, going back to the question, I knew I was a different learner because I always had difficulty like reading from the books and going by like the lessons and all that stuff. My aunt actually mentioned to me, she's like, how about we go down this Votech Avenue? My dad approached it like, yeah, let's do that. So I just tried it out and it kind of like worked from there. If it wasn't for that place, I don't know where I'd be. I have no clue. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of people say college isn't right for me, or I don't think that's my thing. I don't envision myself there. But I also think that's on the heels of what people envision college to be more traditionally. Let's sit in a lecture room, a bunch of people in the classroom, just getting talked at the whole time.
Yeah. So, especially here, it's not like that. Like I think like day one, it's like maybe probably the most boring day. And then after that, you're doing your labs and stuff like that. Like, and I told the kids that I'm like, this is a place where you're going to get hands-on day, probably 1 or 2. So that's why we're coming up here. I showed them the tour videos I did and everything. And they're like so excited.
So they think you're famous at Penn College.
A little bit. Yeah. The kids are the one student that is actually potentially trying to come here. He told me last weekend his mom and him watched all my videos. It's like, what? I was like, no way. Oh, I was like, gosh, I appreciate it. It's a good bittersweet moment, but I'm just like, I'm influencing them too, I guess. So.
You mentioned the videos, and I was thinking it might be helpful because even somebody who's been at the college now for 6 years, whatever, the idea of this mechatronics, what do these labs look like? I know you gave us some examples, but can you, if somebody were going to walk through the labs, like what's in there? What sorts of, just for ease, like maybe at Penn College, like what's in those labs? We've got conveyor belts. What sort of equipment?
I can talk from both standpoints because my classroom has basically kind of similar to what we have here. We have like hydraulic trainers. You'll see lots of hoses and buttons and switches and these weird cylinder things that you have no clue what they are. You'll see hoses, more hoses. Like I said, there'll be like actual oil hoses and like air hoses. And then you'll see the buttons and everything. You'll see motors, computers to do PLC programming, robots. Unfortunately, I don't have that yet in my classroom, working on it. But robots, you'll see that here. There's so many they have. Conveyor belts. We have 3D printers in my classroom my kids use. Yeah, it's just a bunch of cool mechanically inclined equipment that it wows people, I think. If they're intrigued with that already. Definitely helps to have that wow factor.
And what industry would these be present in?
It can be manufacturing, potentially the health field, because now a lot of those are like robotic. They're doing robotic surgeries now. Automotive. your cars are basically built with robots now. So think about fixing them if something's going wrong with them. I did that my previous job at Cody. Say a robot wasn't working, probably was a suction cup that broke a little bit, replace the suction cup. Maybe a sensor's not working, not detecting where that makeup compact's going. Replace the sensor, figure out what's going on. Maybe the robot's not picking up that makeup compact or whatever.
For perspective, Cody makes cosmetics.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. Cody makes cosmetics. They make CoverGirl makeup. So they will fix all those different things. They can also be integrators. So they will implement those programming aspects into a manufacturing facility. And then they'll travel a lot. My one friend does that. He loves it. He travels all over the country.
So it sounds like a ton of opportunities. I mean, we all know that automated manufacturing is not going anywhere.
No, it's not. It's increasing day by day. It's never not going to not be here. It helps us. It helps the companies because they need to meet the needs for their customers, meaning food, makeup, dog food, anything, cars. Like they're going to have to meet those needs to speed up production too. So
a common refrain with automation and AI, if you end up having any knowledge of AI connected to this, is that it's going to threaten jobs. But what I'm hearing from you is the opposite.
To me, I don't think it's threatening jobs. It's giving more people a bigger perspective and opportunity to grow. When I was working at Cody, a lot of those people were learning more about the manufacturing equipment now to like help repair it too. Because technically, like the operators know more about that equipment than I would because they're running it every day. There's more possibilities for career paths too, like doing with programming, maintenance work, all that stuff. To me, it's not like an end game. It's a potential for growth for everyone. I don't see it as a limitation. I think it's a growth opportunity for everyone.
It's interesting to hear you say the technicians actually have that better opportunity because they know what the process is from the non-automated side. Mm-hmm. And now then to pick up the automation and know how to repair the robots, how to improve their functions.
Yes. That was like when I first started at Cody, I was told to ask, what's wrong? Can you explain to me what's going on? And they're like, so-and-so did this before and it worked. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, I did try it. And I'm like, okay. So we have to think outside the box then. But these technicians now that are working in the manufacturing world, they know so much about these automated systems. This is a good growing point for them to excel and get in these bigger roles and positions because they know the equipment more than technically maybe I would. They're with it every day. Technically, one day I would be there and the next day I wouldn't be there. So they're knowing it.
Do they have opportunities to go to professional development or like our workforce development entity here? Like they, host programs where people from industry can come in and learn the equipment. Was any of that happening?
To an extent it was. I know for like my team's sake, they were doing workforce development classes and stuff like that. I hope to see that grow like to the technician side of things because these people are so intelligent that they know how this equipment works too. Like they're working with it every day. So you have to understand it, obviously. I would love to see that grow.
So you came to us from a CTE. What got Penn College on your radar?
I won't lie to you. I wasn't even going to go to college.
Oh, so you're exactly the type of person I was talking about earlier. That's great. No, I think that happens a lot of people who come here.
Yeah, I was not expecting it. I was not thinking college. I toured 2 other facilities. I think it was like one in Lancaster and one in Wilkes-Barre. My one friend, she was a year before me at Babbitt's, and she came here for graphic design. And then she was telling me about this place, and I'm like, okay. I think it was my grandfather and my grandmother. They brought me up for the day for a tour because my dad and my mom never went to college. They knew more about it than I did. So I brought my grandparents with me and we did the whole tour thing. And I remember the entire time it was my grandfather talking to the tour guide the entire time. And I'm like, oh my God. It was so cute. I loved it. And we were just walking around and then we met Mr. Kinley and the other department head at the time. And they were like bragging about my Skills USA stuff and all this other stuff I did at Votech. It was so cute. We came to campus and it felt right. It felt like home. It sounds weird to say, but it felt like home. You're living here for like basically almost the entire year. And it should feel like home. It felt like home. My program was amazing. Mr. Kinley was absolutely welcoming. he said his corny jokes and stuff like that day, or he gave us perspective on the program. It was bittersweet. Like, it was such a great day. I will never forget that. And then after that, I went to the Penn State Lehigh Valley that day in the evening for SAT prep classes. Yeah, it was a crazy day. I remember it so clearly. It was great.
So in addition to Mr. Kinley, what else do you think made it feel like home? Anything about the way campus looked or anything?
Definitely the way campus looks. Like, definitely campus gives a very homey feel. Every time I'm here, the flowers look beautiful. Campus is always so clean. And everyone else is so welcoming. I've never had an issue with faculty or staff. They were always so welcoming and helpful. I can mention so many people. And like, the list will go on and on and on. When I was working in admissions, everyone in there was amazing. Melissa Stokeham, she was my academic mentor. She was there day one. Well, technically day one. It was Katie Mackey and then Melissa Stokeham. And then she was there till the very end. Career services, they were there for me. I can go to anyone and talk to anyone, and they were just here to help me. And even faculty in my classes, they were awesome too. So I think that helped a lot too for me, building those connections, talking to people. Everywhere I would go, it'd be like someone would wave hi to me or something like that, making friends. It just felt like home, and it always will be.
So when you ended up coming here as a student, how did you build that community?
It took a while. My first year was really rough. I won't lie to you, I don't think I was going to make it the first year. I was going to like leave halfway probably. And then I met Katie Mackey because she was at the time doing academic mentoring. She helped me so extremely. Time management, studying applications, going to professors' office hours. And I can also say I had a really good friend group that were on my floor when I lived on campus. I had 2 great friends. I can still say that to this day. Like, they're amazing people. They were there for me. They helped me mentally because it was so hard leaving my family because I'm so family oriented. So having them not be here was pretty hard. I remember I was calling my mom and dad every single day. That slowly diminished as time went on. It was hard for me to actually even call them. But having that, my friends were like the best key thing to help me, and everyone else. But I can definitely vouch Katie Mackey and Melissa Stokeham, MVPs that year. Amazing. They helped me so well. And then I applied for the ambassador role because it reminded me of when I was in Skills USA as an ambassador. And I'm like, okay, I could do this.
And they've since changed the title.
I know they did.
Yeah.
It's cool. I love it. I love it so much. What are they, tour guides now?
Yes. Which is a lot of what you were doing as an ambassador.
Oh, yeah, 10-10. I don't know if they're doing like office hours anymore. I don't think so. I don't know.
I'm not sure. It's such a nice leadership opportunity, though.
That's how I met Morgan. I don't know if you remember Morgan. I met Kayla through there, I think. That's where you meet so many people.
Yeah, so it sounds like then when you came to the campus, you're new, you're trying to put in some roots. It was helpful to live on campus because you met a lot of people in the residence halls and stuff. And then also that getting involved, going out, putting yourself out there, trying to participate in clubs and organizations.
It definitely helped. My schedule was busy, but it definitely helped. I actually met my one close friend, Katie Ruggiero. I don't know if that name rings a bell to you. She was an ambassador. And there's a little funny story behind how I knew her kind of beforehand, but not the point. I met her and me and her clicked instantly. Like, we got coffee every day. She's actually moving back to the area now, so I'm very excited to see her frequently now. But this place really helped put my friendships and roots together. Because I can say in high school, I didn't have many friends. Here, it helped so much building that foundation, for sure.
Yeah, and it sounds like you kind of got out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I did. I think it was coming my senior year of high school. It was definitely like I was getting out of that because I was giving tours at Bethlehem Vo-Tech where I work now. I did my student speaker thing at graduation for them. I did other things for Skills USA. So it was growing already. So this was just like the spark or the laying fire. It's all blowing up now. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, it all like lit up here.
You mentioned Skills USA a few times now. Can you talk about what Skills USA is and how that played into what you did at the CTC that you were at and what you did here at Penn College?
Skills USA is where students can take their hands-on learning to the test and compete across district level to state level to national level. I did not compete. I did more the leadership side of things. To me, it helps those students who want to grow and meet people, connect to build a better foundation for themselves before going to work or go to post-secondary education. I know Penn College does a really good collaboration with Skills USA at Hershey in April. They give, I think it's like scholarships away and stuff like that. So that's a really great way to promote this place too. But to me, like for me, it was all leadership. I was Skills USA ambassador. So I ran our homeschool events. We had fundraising opportunities. We would do community service opportunities where we would give Thanksgiving. They actually still do this, and I love it. They actually put together Thanksgiving meals for the area, and we go drop them off to people that day before Thanksgiving. They had a car show. They had this food truck now at this place. They have their own food truck where these kids make food. It's amazing. To me, just Skills USA gives these kids another way to learn and to kind of like build up the confidence to do what they're doing. I just was able to get the leadership side of things there.
And it's in all different aspects, right?
Oh yeah,
like
health and
cosmetology and culinary, and it's very broad.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I went to the district level one because they asked me to be like a helper that day. And I went, and it was so cool. Like, you saw welding, you saw people doing their hair, you saw baking, you saw them building these houses or doing plumbing stuff. And I'm like, this is amazing. To think about how smart or how doing this hands-on perspective of learning enhances these kids to learn is amazing. It also gives them a way to meet companies too, like to grow that connection. But Skills USA to me is a big fundamental to my growth, but to everyone else's growth that are in CTCs.
We take a lot of things for granted because we host Skills USA on campus here. So some of us have judged and seen it in action.
To me, it helps these kids learn in a whole different area. I think I did go to Hershey. I went on a surprise mission. I was not told about it until last minute because I won a state level award from like a scholarship or whatever. And my advisor, Mrs. Thom, or I can call her Angela Thom now, she surprised me with I didn't even know it. She was like, Lauren, you're going to go help. You're going to go help this weekend. And I'm like, okay. And all I know is like, I kind of forgot to submit the scholarship. I won't lie to you. And I sent it like that day, and it was like a whole mess. I didn't think I was going to get it. And they were announcing the winners, and I just was like sitting there, and I'm like just talking, and I just hear my name, and I'm like, what? No. And then I walk back, and then I see my dad and my stepmom. She called my dad and my stepmom, and it was so cute. Like, I cried because it was it was so sweet. Like, the moment, like, it meant that she saw my hard work and effort, and she wanted me to have that moment. She still does. She's awesome. But
will your students participate?
Skills USA helps their confidence, because when I mention Skills USA, they're like, no, I can't do it. Like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, well, we're doing it. Oh, we're doing it. I remember my teacher made me do one about like, I think it was like an interviewing one. I did not do great at it.
But you learned something.
I learned a lot from it.
You learned you need to practice when you go for an interview.
Yeah. Skills USA also helps, like, they have these conferences you can go to with interview prep, how to dress for an interview, team working exercises. So they help build those, but especially here, oh my gosh, they help. The Center for Career Design 1010 help with all of those aspects too. Like, I was so thankful for that, because I did not have, like, when I was in college, I did not have the money for going to get clothing. So going there for clothing, oh, that was the best moment ever. Loved it. My dad actually tells people about that.
So, yeah, do you want to tell our listeners what you're talking about?
Oh, the Center for Career Design. So the cool thing here is they have this closet in the Center for Career Design where you can get free professional clothing. Can you pick it up too? It's pretty nice. I actually found an LL Bean Penn College sweater in there. I still have it. It's so cute. But it's free and you can go in and they'll let you just venture through it and find something nice for your interview, especially since they have career fairs here and those pop-up events. You can get free business cards, walk in and they'll help you with your resume, and make it sound so much better than the way you just put it there, because I was not good with wording. But the business cards are amazing. I'm really hoping to push that at my CTC because they do like fairs and stuff like that. We'll do visits to companies. So having that instead of the big resume, that would be a better thing to do. So I'm hoping I can get that far, but I'm not sure yet. But yeah, this place definitely, that office, the Center for Career Design, definitely was a key help to getting a job for me, preparing and everything.
That's awesome. We'll put a link in the show notes for students who might be listening to this. Even alumni can take advantage of those services.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Going back again to where you went to school before Penn College, what were some of the courses that you took there, either technical or gen eds, that helped prepare you for here? Things that you might look back and you're like, I can see it on your face. You're like, that class.
I did dual enrollment classes. So my high school did a dual enrollment program with a community college locally. So I did speech there. I took a speech class. I took a world history class in the evenings, which helped me here actually, because I was able to transfer them over. And I did not have to take a speech class when I was here. So I was hearing everyone complain about their speech class. I'm like, haha, I did that in high school. Joke's on me. Joke's on you, actually. It was pretty funny. There's 2 classes I got out. So world history and speech. That helped a lot, getting that perspective of college and that classroom feeling, because it's totally different than high school. You don't need to raise your hand to go to the bathroom, or you're kind of just there learning. But it helped a lot, doing those dual enrollment classes. I took pre-calc in high school too. Made sure I took physics to get that understanding when I came here.
We have dual enrollment here.
Yes.
So you probably didn't know about that until after the fact, right?
I kind of knew about it. I was actually helping the previous teacher before me. She was trying to get this all set up for our program that I teach now. We're in the works of that. Kids are excited about it too, because it's you're getting college credits to come here, and that will help you take 2 things off your list, maybe, potentially, and then maybe add a minor, or this will give you free time to study or do an event or something like that. Join a club, whatever it is. But that will help them, give that perspective to them that they can do other things to grow. And they're saving money, so it helps them too.
And it sounds like your dual enrollment experience, you were at a college, so you were on a college campus, whereas our dual enrollment is different. Yes, so it's taught in the classroom, in your high school classroom during the school day. So
yeah,
there's no extra evening, weekend.
I wish that actually was, because I remember I took the class, the world history class. I think that was till 9:00 at night, once a week on a Thursday. Oh my gosh, I won't lie to you. I don't stay up late. So that was rough. I still go to bed early. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see the correlation, and then with this dual enrollment, how they do it. The reason why I'm kind of pushing for it in my classroom is we have the same trainers, labs, and books that we use here at Penn College, and I use them in my classroom. So what better way to make that connection grow with them to come here if they would like to? Because at our school, we have 3 ways of leaving Babbitt's, or Bethlehem Votech. We call it Babbitt's. That's our little, we call Penn College. Post-secondary, workforce, or military. So I have 2 of the 3 opportunities already. I'm working with a company that give my kids post-secondary options through here, Penn College, and through a company locally in Allentown to get them the knowledge to build their skill sets after high school. So I'm really happy about that.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because you had mentioned that your instructor at your CTE wanted you to go right into industry.
Yeah.
So having been somebody who decided, no, I am going to go to post-secondary, what were the benefits of taking that avenue versus, of course, just going into industry?
Definitely think the maturity level. Your maturity level when you exit high school is so much different to when you exit college. I was pretty mature at my age, but going to college, it helped grow that, I would say, with doing extracurriculars, being a tour guide, being a student college relations assistant, all those things.
The leadership piece too, like you said, how if your supervisor's coming in and seeing, here's Lauren, she went to college, here's this other person, maybe they just they didn't, but they have a lot of years of experience, but you have shown, hey, I like working, with groups of people and leading teams and, it kind of positions you for more growth opportunities.
Yeah, that helped well with getting interviews, like for internships and for my full-time employment. Like when I told them, like, yeah, I do this, this, and this. And they're like, how do you manage your time? And I'm like, I manage my time very wisely, actually. My calendar is very color-coded. That was like, I remember Becky Shaner, she was like vouching for that in like our trainings when I was student college relations assistant. She was like, you should copy Lauren's calendar. Her calendar is so organized. If it wasn't for this, it would taught me so much more about time managing, working with other people too. I just think going to college gives you time to learn that skill set too. You're not like pushed to speed that process up. You're also able to be an 18-year-old kid still learning because your brain's still developing until like you're 25. So think about that. Like you'll probably learn a lot after high school going into the work, but having this as an avenue to make more connections, making new friends, leadership skills, all that stuff is a great foundation to me.
Once you were here, I'm sure you took advantage of at least one internship.
Yeah, I worked at Victaulic. They make couplings for piping systems. My grandfather worked there, which was pretty cool. I was a manufacturing intern, so I did like smaller projects with their vision systems and their robots. I was 3D printing a lot though, which is actually coming in handy now because we have like 4 3D printers in my classroom, so I had no clue anything about 3D printing before that. Yeah, I did that at home. Unfortunately, COVID ruined a lot of my internship opportunities. So I did the one through Victaulic, and it was a great learning curve. I'm really hoping to eventually have my kids. I know it's hard because of ages and everything like that, but having them at least be able to shadow a job facility for a day just to get that understanding more of that job role. Because that was such a huge perspective to me as manufacturing, because manufacturing is very different. My dad he didn't warn me, but he was like, this is how it's going to be. Just like, be prepared for it. And I'm like, okay. They're like, no one's really used to your bubbly personality, so be prepared. And I'm like, okay. It helps a lot. It was also cool because my grandfather worked there, and he passed away unfortunately when I was 15. And he was a hard worker. He worked his butt off there. Called him Fast Eddie for a reason because he worked those CNC machines so great. So he was awesome, but it was a cool experience.
Another full circle moment.
Yeah, another full circle moment. Yeah, it's still bittersweet. I love talking about that opportunity to my students about that too. I actually have, when I was an intern there, they gave me his like badge number on a magnet with his last name. And I actually have that in my classroom right now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So then after that, finishing up your program, how soon before, after you graduated, did you land your initial position?
It was my last semester, early January.
Was that common among classmates to get a job before graduating?
Yeah, all of my friends, I can tell you. My one friend had his job offer probably a month after mine. He lives in Montana now. My other friend, he had his probably the same time as mine. He lives in Florida. He does contract work for Universal Studios. My other friend, roughly, I would say same time as me. He works in Berwick.
Yeah, that's good to know that you're not, graduating and then looking for a job. You already have that nailed down before you even walk across that stage.
Yeah, we were all set to go. Like our last conversations that day of graduation, we were just talking about moving. I think all of us were moving. We were all pretty much set to go, and then everything changes. Everything changes.
How many offers did you have on the table?
I did limit myself because I was gaslighting myself. So I didn't think I should have did more than I did. But when I met the people from Coady, I kind of knew like I wanted to work there. So I kind of it made sense. So I did limit myself. My other friends, though, they had like 5 offers on the table, and they were like figuring out which one was best for them and everything. So they'd be like, oh, I have an interview with that person. I have an interview with that person. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. They were driving everywhere. They had a lot of offers on the table. It was like little itty bitty things that would like make them want to go to that company, like health benefits, 401k, all that stuff.
Those are big things.
Yeah, we had no clue what any, I won't lie to you, none of us, we were just figuring it out. But those are huge benefits, getting paying for education. That's something I was looking for because I knew I wanted to keep working on my master's and stuff like that. So we were all looking at those plus and minuses to each situation. Lots of phone calls to home a lot about that stuff.
And you are working on your master's currently?
Yeah. So I'm working on my master's in career technical education.
And that's online?
That is all online.
Okay.
Yeah, all online.
Teaching during the day and the student at night.
Yeah, literally. Literally, my life. But yeah, so that's me right now.
Our career fair is coming up
Yeah, next week.
next week. Did you take advantage of those career fairs while you were here?
I did not go my freshman year because I think it was just too overwhelming for me at first just to get that. Second year, that's when COVID happened. So that was like a little weird. Then my third and fourth year, I went. I think I worked it with being a student college relations assistant. And I went all day. It was insane. Like it's so overwhelming. It's a good overwhelming to talk to all those companies, having your like little list of who you're going to talk to. Where are they located in the field house and in the Bardo gym? Or, okay, is this appropriate for me to wear that day? That's where you go to there for the clothes at the closet. That helps so much. Like, I would not have met the company like Cody I worked for. My internship, I met Victaulic there. It also helped that I knew people that were actually working the event too. So they would help push me to like go talk to people or like hype me up a little bit to them, which just actually helped with Cody. Actually, the one person, she worked in the Center for Career Design, and she told them after I left, she's like, you need to hire her. She's awesome. Like, you got to do it. She's amazing. And I'm like, so she helped me in that aspect. But going to those career fairs are such a big deal. Connecting. I remember coming here last year with Cody. I was so excited. And I remember I was so mentally exhausted because it was just so much. Like, you're talking to all these kids, talking about opportunities of growth. But it was such a good day. It was amazing just giving that alumni perspective to them when I was literally in their shoes like the year before. So it was pretty cool. Career fair is amazing. Take advantage of it if a student's listening.
I wanted to ask you about a mentor. I always like to ask people about a mentor, especially if you're teaching. Do you have somebody that comes to mind?
I can say there was 3 people I can say that have been like the best to me, especially right now in being in this role, would be my old teacher, Mr. Millicitz, or Glenn Millicitz, because I can call him by his first name now, which is still weird for me. He was the person that taught me it's okay to learn differently. Like, it's okay to learn in this different way. If you need help, I'll help you. If you want to succeed, I will help you too. I tell my kids that day one, even in the rotations, day one, I'm like, I'm here to see you succeed. If you want to succeed, like excel in these opportunities of growth here, I will help you. Like, I will vouch for you. And he did the same thing for me with Skills USA. I did stuff with the Rotary in Bethlehem. He was like the MVP guy. I would cry to him sometimes about home or something going on home, or all that boyfriend drama in high school. Like, he was always there. And he actually is my mentor there currently, because when you're a new teacher, you get provided a mentor. So he is actually my mentor. The other person I'd say is Angela Thom, because she was a person that saw me transition into all of these areas of roles. I would call her occasionally or text her about like advice about doing certain things here. She pushed me to go into different positions in Skills USA. She like was my pusher. She really pushed me to go here. She still pushes me. It's great. It's a great motivational thing. I can't vouch for them enough. Here though, Mr. Kinley was like he had the open door policy. Like, you can go in there, talk to him. He'll help you with anything, take time out of the day to help you. He always had a smile on his face. And like, I remember when I graduated, I did that like teacher excellence award, and I like did it for him. Like, I showed up that day in your all college meeting because I wanted to make sure I saw him get that, because he 10 deserved it. He worked so hard to do opportunities for the kids here. I just had a phone call with him last week because he's helping me build my occupational advisory committee, which gives me insight into the industry because I don't have those eyes anymore. And he's awesome. I cannot vouch anymore about those people.
I also love that you're building that occupational advisory board. It's similar to what the college has. So
oh yeah,
so did you pick that up from?
No. So it's actually, I think it's like thing you have to do because it's very common in vocational schools. I think I got 2 from here. I think I snagged 2. Eric Anstadt and Clark Sarge. So
They're locked in now. They're on air. They're locked in.
Yeah, they're locked in. Well, I have the one application. The other one I'm still waiting for. But they're locked in. I have been reaching out nonstop to companies just to build that relationship. I have a couple from like the Peeps manufacturing in Bethlehem where they make all the Peeps and stuff. And then we have Victaulic I'm working with, Crayola. They're hoping to do an apprenticeship with them. MDI is my big one right now. Those are to name a few. They're like my big people.
That's great.
Yeah, it's slowly becoming together.
So I'm going to give you your chance to create a new circle. Actually, to enhance a new circle, because you're already in the circle. But what advice do you have for those students back at Bavitz?
This is your time to find yourself, I think I would say. Because, I didn't know you never know who you really truly are in high school. You have no understanding. But this is where you can grab that. I keep saying that word foundation, grabbing that foundation to build it up for yourself, to have that good ending that you want for yourself. This is their stone, their building block to building that great story that they can tell, maybe similar to mine one day. Because I'm very happy. I'm very fortunate for this experience now. I love my job, even though they do drive me insane. Love you dearly. This is my job that I love, and I will advocate for it until I hope to be in there until I retire, because this has helped so much. And I always tell them they got this. You got this 100%. Stay in the classroom all the time. To them, Votech to me is your building foundation to growing and excelling in life. And this is their time to do that. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, guys. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
A born teacher.
Actually, funny thing you said that is because on Friday I wore my Friday sweatshirt, and we went out after school with a couple teachers, and Angela Thom was like, I think you were meant to be a teacher, because I never really see that excitement out of new teacher. She's like, yeah, I just knew you were meant to do this, because she just saw my sweatshirt and she's like, yeah, this is you.
Good to know you're where you belong.
Yeah, it feels so good. I love it. I'm very happy with it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today after a very busy weekend.
No, I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. I loved it. And I can't wait to let everyone hear it. So
yay. I can't wait either.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Check out our show notes for bookmarks to your favorite sections and links to resources that we mentioned in today's episode.
You can also find past episodes and see what's on deck for upcoming ones at pct.edu/podcast.
And of course, we are open to your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions, so send those over at podcast@pct.edu.
It's been real.
Catch you next time.
I told the kids day one, and they're like, oh, Miss Stauffer. And they were prepping me with questions. They're like, what happens if they ask you this? Why you chose this job? And I'm like, well,
I'm going to ask you that.
Oh, okay.